Hey everybody, it's Harry. It's been a while. Films I watched this past week. All 13 views last week on that video, so I know how great these are. Very popular amongst my fan base. But I like doing them. Anyways, just kind of release stress and all that. Work it in retail with these times going on. People are just plain dickheads, and anyways, that's what I have to deal with on a daily basis. So my little outlet. So there was a bunch of films I watched because I skipped last week. Being sick, it was raining. I just didn't have time to do it, and it's kind of quiet right now, except for the fucking roosters. Um, so let me see. I watched 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 films this past 2 weeks, I guess, or a week and a half. So let's start off. I left off with the Tiger King. The grandkids were calling me when I was discussing that, and I'm just going to skip that. I think everybody knows about the Tiger King. Then I watched a movie called Onward. It was on Disney Plus. It was supposed to be out in the theater. There was a truck going by. It came out this year. It was supposed to be out in the theaters because of the coronavirus. It wound up going on the Disney Channel, Disney Plus, I mean, and we enjoyed it. We watched it, kids. Everybody crammed in our bedroom because I have it on the Xbox in my room, so every child in the house was on our bed. Um, you don't know, I have 5 children living with me, 4 adults. We're kind of cramped in here, but my grandchildren, there's 4 of my grandchildren live here with me. So, but anyways, and my daughter, my 10-year-old daughter, and we all watched it, and it was good. It was a good film. I gave that 3.5 stars out of 5. Not a bad film. Kids enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for what it was. Kind of lose interest in some of my animation films that I used to love all the time. But I liked watching that one. I watched the odd one with kids. I didn't watch the troll one. I rented it from Amazon Prime, the new troll movie, and I didn't watch it with them because I'm not interested in the trolls. But then the next one I watched was a recommendation from a Facebook friend named William Hardman. He posted a couple of months ago. He said it, or about a month or so ago, and I put it on the Netflix list to get the DVD or Blu-ray on it. It was called The Dead Don't Die with Bill Murray and Adam Driver in it. Came out last year. Tilda Swinton's in it. Selena Gomez, Tom Waits, Steve Buscemi, Danny Glover. Um, Directed by Jim Jarmusch. I guess that's how you pronounce his name. And it's basically the Earth's axis starts rotating differently on its axis, and things happen, and then it's a zombie movie, and it's a black comedy, not like Shaun of the Dead, but Bill Murray's just playing this like a stoic self of himself, like nothing ever bothers him, goes through life. Adam Driver, same way. They play sheriff deputies, and they go through this town, and then people are turning into zombies. Um, One of the funniest things was that Adam Driver was handing his keys to another deputy, and they had on his keychain the Death Star on on there. So I thought that was funny. Um, with The Dead Don't Die, I gave that 2.5 stars. It was okay. It was just, I don't know. It wasn't as funny as I thought it was going to be. Next thing I watched was as I got a Criterion of the Cary Grant 1938 film Holiday that has Cary Grant and Katharine Hepburn in it, and and Edward Everett Horton, and on there they have the original holiday film from 1930, which I watched, which I had never seen before, and it was directed by Edward H. Griffith. Basically, it's the same film, more staged. Those early 1930 films, the talkies, when they were coming from silence to talkie, they were basically staged like you were going to a theater. Um, stars Ann Harding, Mary Astor, who I love, Edward Everett Horton, who reprises his role in the 1938 version. Robert Ames and Hedda Hopper is in this one. Johnny Case is him, and played by Robert Ames. He plays Johnny Case, who is a guy who wants to make it on his own, but do it on his own accord. He's not big on money. He's kind of coming on his own, making money. And he wants to travel and do this, retire early, and live a life, And yeah, it was okay, not as good as the Cary Grant Katharine Hepburn remake. I gave it 3 stars. The print looks really good too. There are some shaky spots in it, but the print looked really good. Actually, the print looks better than the 1938 version. Then I watched on Twilight Time Blu-ray The Panic in Needle Park, which is from 1971. It's a New York-based film starring Al Pacino, Kitty Wynn, Alan Vent, Richard Bright, Keel Martin, and you also see Raul Julia in it. Paul Savino has a small part in it. Joe Santos is in it as well. And it's about a couple played by Al Pacino, which is his first starring film. And Kitty Wynn, a girl he meets, and winds up getting her hooked on meth. Oh, not meth or heroin. Shooting heroin. They start dating. She started out clean, and then how she starts doing stuff for him, and things just get worse. From bad to worse. Good old New York, late 60s, early 70s New York, which I love because it was dirty, gritty. Subways were always had graffiti on them. But that's when I was growing up in New York. I lived out in Long Island mainly. I was born in Brooklyn, but I lived out in Long Island. But we would go to the city frequently. And I remember the garbage strikes and all that stuff. I mentioned this before. But I love the films that were made in the 70s at that time in New York, because it just brings you right back to that time and place, like a time capsule. So, Panic at Needle Park, I gave that 4.5 stars. Glad I picked it up. Jay had it on Twilight Time, and so I was able to find it there because I thought it was out of print, but it was there. So, and I think that's the only way you can get it now is on Twilight Time. They still have their sale going on. It's like $14.98, I think, for this film. So then I watched because this come up for films in 1971 also. A film that I've never seen, I've always wanted to see, and I kept putting it off. And I'm glad I finally watched it. Mike had mentioned it. Michael Gray, 1951, Last Picture Show for 1971 with Peter Bogdanovich, Timothy Bottoms, Jeff Bridges, Sybil Shepherd, Ben Johnson, which played a role that he didn't want to do, but he played it and got nominated, or one for best supporting actor. Cloris Leachman, who 2 years later would play what's her name in Young Frankenstein, but Ellen Burstyn, Eileen Brennan, a bunch of people, young Randy Quaid. Good film about high schoolers in, um, I guess, the early 50s, and how they, and I'll just read this here. High school seniors and best friends Sonny and Dwayne live in a dying Texas town. The handsome Dwayne is dating local beauty JC, while Sonny is having an affair with the coach's wife. Ruth, as graduation near, Ruth, the teacher's Ruth, that's Ellen, or not Ellen Burstyn, but Cloris Leachman. As graduation nears, both boys contemplate their futures, while Dwayne has the army and Sonny takes over a local business. Each boy struggles to figure out if he can escape his dead-end town and build a better life somewhere else. So, very good film. I imagine most people have seen it, and I gave that 4.5 stars. Then I watched, for a grumpy old gentleman for last month, Alien 3. I did a video on that. If you want to check the Grumpy Old Gentleman page out there, you can check that out. Not a huge Aliens fan. I do like the first two, but 3 suck monkey balls. So 2.5 stars I gave it, just because of Sigourney Weaver. Then I next watched another Twilight Time. Jay is a big influence on me nowadays. Because they have a good sale going on at Twilight Time. Because normally his movies are $30 or more, and they're like $8.98, $14 for film. But I got this one on eBay because it was out of print, and I got it for $20. It was called Moscow on the Hudson from 1984 with Robin Williams, Maria Conchita Alonso, Cleavon Derricks, Alejandro Rey, Ella Baskin, a bunch of people in here. Robin Williams plays Vladimir Ivanov, and he's from Russia, and he decides to defect in Bloomingdale's department store in New York City, and it tells his story, getting to work as a hot dog vendor in New York City, doing different things, working at McDonald's, and how he comes and he finds love and becomes a citizen of the United States. Moscow on the Hudson, 1984, directed by Paul Mazursky. I gave that 4 stars. I hadn't seen this one, probably the late 80s, HBO, something like that. Then the next one, another Twilight Time. I've been buying these left and right. I'm up to about 9 or 10 now. Hold on. Sorry, had to edit grandchildren fighting over TV. So I bought this one called Born Free. This came out in 1966, the year I was born. And I thought I had never seen it before, but I remember watching it on, the weekends on local TV channels. They would always play Born Free. And I guess I was mistaking it for another film, but I was watching it and I remember this film. It was directed by James Hill, played by Virginia McKenna, Bill Travers, a real life couple. Jeffrey Keen's in it. Peter LaCroix. And it's basically these two. They're game wardens that live in Kenya in a national park, and they wind up taking care. The mother gets killed. Lioness gets killed, and they wind up taking care of their cubs. And one of them, Elsa, becomes attached, and to Joy, and winds up raising Elsa, and then having a hard time having to put her back in the wild. And that's where the Born Free comes from, that she was born to be free, and then she did. So I highly enjoyed it. Was glad to see it again, even though I don't remember it. Sometimes I guess I get it confused with Hatari with John Wayne, which is a totally different movie, but also based in Africa. So check that out. It's on Twilight Time Blu-ray. It's on sale, $8.98. I give that 5 stars. Wow. Okay. I enjoyed that one. Next thing I watched, DVD rental from Netflix. Um, a couple of months ago, I watched a Sean Connery movie called Robin and Marion, and I was watching the bonus features, and they were talking about Richard Lester, who's the director who directed The Beatles and Help and Hard Day's Night. Did stuff with the Goons, if you're from the UK, and they were talking about the movie The Three Musketeers, which I remember from the 70s. It was being promoted very heavily, and because it was a comedy. It was a comedy. The Three Musketeers. So I was like, man, I haven't watched that in years. I mean, years. Probably on local TV. So I rented it and watched it, and um, gave it 3.5 stars. And it stars what a big cast. Um, Michael York, Oliver Reed, Richard Chamberlain, Frank Finlay, Faye Dunaway, Raquel Welch, Christopher Lee, Geraldine Chaplin, Spike Milligan, Jean Pierre Castle, Charlton Heston, Simon Ward, Roy Kinnear, Sybil Danning, and yeah, it's the Three Musketeers story. Michael York plays D'Artagnan, and I'm trying to remember who. Anyways, I'm finding out about this Oliver Reed guy. He was kind of a wild guy, apparently. Charlton Heston, he plays a cardinal, and yeah, good performances all. 1973, The Three Musketeers, and then, wow, it's almost 17 minutes long. I'll hurry up this here. Then I rented on Amazon Prime The Call of the Wild with Harrison Ford from 2020. And let's see. And that was directed by Chris Sanders. It had Harrison Ford, Dan Stevens, Colin Woodall, Karen Gillan, Raven Scott, and a CGI animals. Everything was CGI. That was the only thing about it. Harrison Ford gave it a good performance. I gave it 3.5 stars, which is probably more than what I should. Just because of Harrison Ford's performance and the cinematography in the film, with the CGI animals, the dogs, and all that were all CGI, and it just took me out of the film. Too human-like, too Disney-esque, as they say. Another one, the next movie I watched was the Last Detail with Jack Nicholson. That was a Twilight Time film that was I bought. It was out of print and paid $25 for it on eBay. But it's one of those films I wanted to have. There's like another one I want to get is 5 Easy Pieces on Criterion, which I'll probably pick up in another week or so. But because I love those early Jack Nicholson films. This one has starred Otis Young, Randy Quaid, Clifton James, Carol Kane, Michael Moriarty, Kathleen Miller, Nancy Allen, and it's two Shore Patrol. Ooh, got bright there. The sun's coming over the roof here. Who have to escort Randy Quaid, who robbed $40 out of a charity box. Yeah, let's see here. If I can fix that there. No. Anyways, and they had to escort him to a Marine prison, and they get him laid, they get him drunk. They go see his mama, or try to go take him to see his mama. Good film. A lot of cussing in it. Definitely not for children. Did I say who directed that one? Hal Ashby, who I believe did. Have to look later. Then I followed up with the DVD rental when I sent the Three Musketeers back. I got the Four Musketeers for 1974. And when I watched the bonus features of this, I didn't realize, my fingers over the camera, that I didn't realize that the Three Musketeers, Four Musketeers, I know there were sequels to each other, but it was all one movie, and they split it. And they had to split it because it was too long. I gave this 3 stars. It was okay. It's the same cast as before because it was just a long film. So, yeah, 3 stars. It was okay. It was good to watch though. Then I watched the other night, yesterday night, the night before, Dinner at 8 from 1933, directed by Michael Cukor, or George Cukor. I'm sorry, George Cukor. 1933, starred Marie Dressler, John Barrymore, Wallace Beery, Jean Harlow, Lionel Barrymore, Lee Tracy, Edmund Lowe, Billy Burke, Madge Adams, Jean Hersholt, Karen Morley, bunch of people. I had to buy this on eBay. This was out of print. I've always wanted it and kept putting it off, and then so let me go find it, and I found it for about $11 on eBay. So that was the cheapest one because they were luckily $25, $30, $40. So I bought it used. It played it, and it's a good film. A lot of different stories, sort of like Grand Hotel. If you ever seen Grand Hotel, which came out a year before this, it's an assembly cast, and it's all sorts of different stories going on there. Yeah, I'm not really good at these. So 4.5 stars. And then finally, what I watched last night, A Prayer for the Dying from 1987. And this one was directed by Mike Hodges. Stars Mickey Rourke, Bob Hoskins, Alan Bates, Sammy Davis, not Jr., but the actress Sammy Davis, Christopher Fulford, Liam Neeson, the young Liam Neeson. It's about an IRA guy who he accidentally blows up a school bus of school children when they were going after an army convoy, and decided to give up the IRA, the violence, but he has to kill to get out and not be chased by the IRA. He had to make one more killing on a person, which he does in a cemetery, and it was witnessed by Bob Hoskins, who plays a Catholic priest. And Mickey Rourke's character, Finlay. I just watched this last night too. But anyways, his character winds up going to church, giving confession, knowing that the priest can't give up in confession his identity. So gave it 3.5 stars. Very good. It was a bomb at the box office here in the States, and then reading the bonus or watching the bonus features on the Twilight video, Time video. It said that this is not the director's cut. It was cut up and different, but people still love it. And the director said, Bob Hodges said, hopefully one day he'll have his cut done and released. But we'll see. Anyways, thank you for watching almost 24 minutes worth of me babbling on and putting you to sleep. So I'll talk to you later. Thank you for watching. Bye.